Overwatch is a fighting game. Well, sort of. Let me explain. Well, you see, when I say that, I mean that many terms and strategies are interchangeable between both fighting games and Overwatch. So fighting games are known for the immense knowledge checks and character diversity that it has. Obviously depending on the game, but most do have a large enough pool to fit whatever playstyle the player chooses. To put it in simple terms for the average non-fighting game player, which is probably a lot of you from Overwatch, there are usually 3 character archetypes for fighting game characters. There is the zoner for space control and keeping your opponent at distance, but weaker when having to deal with pressure up close. Usually they will have some sort of tool or special that can help with keeping the opponent away if they get too close, or to escape pressure and reset neutral, which normally immediately means that they are at an advantage already. There's the Rushdown character, who is a specialist in keeping the opponent on their toes, usually applying a 50-50 of some sort, and not allowing any space to be made between him or her and the opponent, but usually has a tough time getting in for pressure if the opponent has good keep out. They will use their speed to apply relentless pressure to the opponent and putting them in a position where they most likely will make a mistake. And last but not least, there is the Brawler. Big hugs and massive damage. They will make sure that you remember how to tech those throws, otherwise you in for a front row of a WWE match. These struggle a lot more than the previous to get in, depending on the matchup or game, but they usually have a massive amount of health in order to survive when they finally get in with their usually low mobility. Well, Tekken and Mortal Kombat are an exception. I mean, look at this. Now, there is this unusual fourth one. They do not play by the usual tools of the game and normally do not have a area where they fit. They are puzzling to play and to play against, but sometimes the most entertaining to watch, funny enough. I mean, what the fuck am I looking at? This is a tournament. It looks like a clown show. He's the GOAT though. I'm guessing that through this description you can more or less see where your favorite character in Overwatch might fit, huh? Let's start with the obvious. Most of you heard Rushdown and immediately thought of Genji, Tracer, and Duo. You wouldn't be wrong, because they are the most effective at close range and capitalize on team mistakes or your mistake. They possess the speed and deadliness of a typical Rushdown character but explode when put under too much pressure due to how risky they have to play. Characters like Ashe and Widow create immense amounts of space between you and them in order to play effectively. And you have to play very carefully depending on where their pressure is being applied in order to reach them. And just like zoners in fighting games, they have a move or ability to create more distance between them and the enemy in case they get too close. If caught in the right situations without them, they will normally crumble quite fast due to not being able to deal with immense pressure up close. Now for grapplers, what immediately comes to mind is Roadhog and Rein. Roadhog quite literally grabs you and deals massive amounts of damage if you play into his hook range. And if you play into Reinhardt's range, he deals massive amount of melee damage, and although he doesn't grab, his pin definitely lives up to the damage grapplers tend to do off one grab. And both have large amounts of health in order to sustain that playstyle. Now, not every character is as obvious to put in a fighting game archetype. After all, this is a FPS, so most of the cast would be a quote-unquote zoner, but that would make the video boring now, wouldn't it? characters that break this rule would be like Mercy. Now, where the hell do I put you in? Fuck it. DPS Mercy goes to Rushdown, because these Mercy players will gun you down if they pop their ult, and they close in fast, so it sounds like a Rushdown to me. Comment down below where you think your favorite character would probably fit if he or she was a fighting game character, based on the definitions. Now, if we talk about abilities in OW, from a fighting game player perspective, it would be your special moves: Hog Hook, Scorpion Spear, Sim Teleport, Rain Teleport, Echo Copy, Shang Tsung, Hammond Slam, Electric Wind God Fist. Oh my god. Okay, that one is a bit too funny, sorry. I just had a picture in my head of Hammond hitting electrics and wave dashing. I mean, we got a Kiriko mod for Tekken, and that's cool. Anyway, just like Overwatch, there is also a game of rock, paper, scissors to be played here. Dive goes well into poke because of the speed at which they close in, and so does Rushdown into zoners. Brawl does well into dive due to the normally larger health pool and the ability to survive dive better, plus they can stay up close and personal for longer than dive. Just like grapplers into Rushdown, who have no problem being up close due to their massive damage output once they retaliate back. Well, it's about time we talk about the elephant in the room. That is that OW is a team game and you depend a lot on your team. While most, if not all, fighting games are solely dependent on you, your mistakes and your actions and no one else's affect how you perform. Well, for that I say Overwatch 2 is an assist-based fighting game, where the tank is technically the main character and everyone else is the assist. Now, that is not to say that everyone else is unimportant. Quite the contrary actually, because in those type of games, your team comp and who you pair with is as important as the main fighter you choose. Mortal Kombat, Marvel vs. Capcom, and Xenoverse is a good example of this, considering you have to try and see what type of assist fits best into your character's playstyle, or might increase their potential. Think of it like playing dive, and instead of completing your team with a Genji, you get a Junkrat. But with the right amount of communication, it can absolutely work due to the team being able to capitalize off of the amount of chaos the junk can cause. And with a Lucio speed boosting him, it makes him more of a threat, considering he can hit his shots and mine a lot more consistent from up close. Now, I am an advocate of playing whoever you find fun, both in Overwatch and in a fighting game, because finding who you want to play with in these games is the toughest decision you will ever make. Being in a character crisis sucks, especially when the game is fundamentally good, but you cannot find the character that unlocks the fun everyone else is having. Well, the question now is, why am I making this video? I don't know, I just thought this was like a cool kind of concept. But on a serious note, I do hope how choosing someone that fits into your playstyle is important in improving your gameplay, both in Overwatch and in any fighting game for that matter. I also hope that I can get some of you that play Overwatch to try out, fighting games. Tekken, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, or Skullgirls. I would love to see certain Overwatch content creators choose a main in games like Tekken in order to see what type of gameplay they might like when not playing Overwatch 2. I mean, considering this season, they would probably play anything. Not gonna lie, I can see someone like Frogger maybe playing like Yoshi because of the way he likes to troll with Lucio. Or Flats would either play, I don't know, King or even Gigas. Mercy players, not gonna lie, would probably play Alyssa. Please don't play Alyssa. Well, this is the end of the video, and I want to say that I did a decent job at comparing and finding similarities between these games, but that is not up to me to decide, so any input in the comments is more than welcome. Be sure to like and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video.
suicide, bitch. You can run, but you can't hide. Goodbye, there ain't no stopping this. You've been talking like I know you, I don't